In nature, every movement is calculated, every action is precise, and every decision has been refined by millions of years of evolution to serve one purpose: survival. Even the simplest creatures, without thought, without awareness, are locked into survival patterns honed by time. A jellyfish drifting on currents, an ant following a pheromone trail, a worm reacting to touch. There's no consciousness, but there is precision. Nothing is wasted. Every move is about efficiency. And intelligence in animals only adds another layer to that. Chimps use tools to get food. Elephants navigate death and memory. Dolphins strategize in coordinated pods. Intelligence serves a clear function: survival, cooperation, reproduction. But sometimes precision isn't about survival at all. It's about power, control, or something darker. In 1962, marine experts of the Pacific Northwest spotted orcas chasing porpoises, not to eat, but to toy with them. No blood, no feeding, just senseless pursuit. And this wasn't an isolated incident. It continued for decades. Fast forward to 2013. A dolphin gets flipped sky high during a hunt in Monterey Bay. In 2015, a seal was launched 80 feet in the air like a rag doll. And still, they didn't eat it. It was just pure showmanship of the orca's strength. In 2016, things turned darker. A mother-son orca duo killed a newborn calf from another pod to assert dominance. Another orca male took down a baby just to mate with its mom. Cold, calculated moves. More mafia than marine mammal. In 2020, a humpback calf was hunted in the presence of its mother, but the orcas only ate its tongue. The rest was left behind like trash. By 2021 and 2022, the targets got bigger. Great whites, seven-gill sharks, and even blue whales. The kills were surgical, strategic, and selective. They weren't just acting like hunters. They were often just acting as bullies. Even whale sharks weren't safe. In 2024, orcas were spotting having flipped them on their backs and tore into their soft underbellies. And just recently, in 2025, a 60-foot blue whale was ripped apart by a pod of 60 orcas in a brutal, coordinated assault. These aren't just mindless killings. These are intelligent, social, strategic animals behaving in ways that force us to ask a chilling question. Why are orcas killing just for fun? Is there a point to their bullying? And why have these orcas' behaviors become even more ruthless and seemingly evil in just the past few years? In the 1800s, sailors dubbed these black and white bullies whale killers after witnessing orcas hunting and killing large whales, an impressive feat for any predator. Over time, this term morphed into killer whales, a name that still sticks. But these creatures don't actually just hunt whales. They'll go after just about anything that moves in the ocean. Even when orcas are full, they still hunt. Not for food, for fun. It's like a form of social play for them, something they do to pass time and engage with each other. Take the pufferfish, for example. Orcas have been seen carefully tossing them around, almost like they're playing with a toy. And it's not just fish. These predators will treat seals, penguins, and even seabirds as their personal footballs, tossing them through the air or letting them wriggle away, only to be captured again. It's like a deadly game of keep away for the orcas, a twisted form of entertainment where the catch is as much about skill and coordination as it is about the hunt. And while they're playing, orcas are also evolving, adapting in ways that make them more deadly with each passing generation. In 2020, researchers recorded 15 strange interactions between orcas and boats off the coast of Gibraltar. Nothing major, a few nudges, but by 2023, that number had exploded. Over 500 incidents. Boats rammed, rudders ripped clean off, entire yachts sunk beneath the waves. And here's the most unsettling part. The orcas never took a bite. They weren't hunting. They weren't scared. They were learning, teaching each other their way of having a little fun. Scientists were completely baffled. Why would orcas do this? This behavior hadn't been observed before, especially not by these famous toothed dolphins against human ships. So what's going on? Some believe the oceans are simply too loud. With constant shipping traffic, sonar and engine noise, some researchers think the orcas might be snapping, maybe even reaching a breaking point. You know, like, I've had enough of this noise levels of frustration. And there's also the intelligence factor. Orcas are hyper-intelligent social learners known to pick up new habits fast. While they don't have an official IQ score, researchers say the problem-solving and emotional smarts rival those of 15 or 16-year-old humans. And just like any teenager, sometimes they let their impulses do the steering. But could it be something simpler? The most hopeful theory suggests orcas might be finding boats fun. Their rumbling propeller wash could just feel like an underwater jacuzzi, and the smacking rudders, maybe it's just a game to them. And this theory is actually plausible, as orcas do really crazy stuff just for the kick of it, like carrying around poisonous jellyfish, just like a dog does with a toy. Orcas may even enjoy the sting of a jellyfish on their tongues, a weird kind of play that borders on masochistic. But despite their oddly aggressive behavior, wild killer whales don't actually kill humans. To this day, there hasn't been a single confirmed attack. The first time someone actually died because of an orca, it didn't happen in the ocean. It was in a tank. This is Tilikum, an orca many of you have probably heard of before. He wasn't just involved in one death, but three. In 1991, a trainer named Kelty Byrne slipped and fell into the tank at Sealand, Canada. She drowned after being pulled under repeatedly. In 1999, a man named Daniel Jukes snuck into SeaWorld Orlando after hours. His body was found draped over Tilikum the next morning. And in 2010, during a live show, Tilikum killed Dawn Branchow, a senior trainer, by dragging her underwater. Some said he was mistreated. Others said he snapped. Either way, Tilikum shattered the illusion that orcas were harmless. His story sparked public outrage, fueled Blackfish, and forced SeaWorld to end its orca breeding program. Tilikum's behavior proved that orcas, despite not being able to speak our language, are much more complex organisms compared to anything like ants or simple fish. And as giant cousins of dolphins with 6 tons of muscle, they're not the creature you'd want to piss off. But just like any complex organism, their behaviors aren't always consistent or predictable. In the Pacific Northwest, researchers have observed it firsthand. Killer whales were balancing salmon on their heads. This quirky behavior was first documented in 1987 when a female orca was spotted wearing a fish like a hat. Over the following weeks, others in the pod mimicked it, but the behavior disappeared after that summer and wasn't seen again until just recently, in 2023. With no clear explanation, scientists are left wondering, is this a new generation picking up on an old game? Or is it something more? Orcas have also been seen participating in pebble rubbing. And no, this isn't metaphorical for anything. Full-grown killer whales have been seen swimming up to smooth, rocky beaches and rubbing their massive bodies all over the stones. Off the coast of British Columbia, orcas have been caught on camera sliding across shallow pebble shores. It looks like a full-body massage crossed with a synchronized rolling class. And it's not just the young or curious. Everyone joins in. Mothers, calves, even cranky old bulls. So what's going on? The first theory is skincare. Rubbing against smooth stones might help orcas shed dead skin or scrape off parasites. The second is just pure pleasure. Orcas have incredibly sensitive skin, capable of detecting even subtle pressure changes in the water. So rubbing on pebbles might be the orca's version of a spa day. And while these behaviors show their complexity, it doesn't exactly explain why orcas are sometimes so aggressive. When they run into other dolphins, they don't settle for a polite swim-by or a simple chase. They throw these creatures around, which might sound playful, until you realize it means using their teeth to grab, toss, and shove live dolphins around like rag dolls. Not to eat, not always to kill, just to interact, to play with, and to dominate. And to orcas, in their own pod, even worse. Within their own pods, orcas have been caught turning on each other in ways that make family squabbles sound quaint. Researchers have documented violent dominance displays, including raking, where one whale drags its teeth across another's skin, leaving deep scars. These aren't love bites. They're rank setting, sometimes relentless, and often targeted at younger, lower status individuals. In captivity, it gets worse. Without the space to escape or social structures to stabilize the group, orcas have inflicted fatal injuries on one another. Bite marks, bleeding, bullying. Many SeaWorld orcas bear the scars. In 1989, an orca named Kandu V died after ramming another whale in a show of dominance. She fractured her jaw and bled out in front of a live audience. Some of these cases are too gruesome for me to even show you. In a weird way, orcas have such high levels of intelligence that they've evolved odd, complex social behaviors, some that often mirror our own. They hold grudges, learn techniques, hunt for the sake of hunting, and even sometimes just pranking other animals. Orcas have been known to target porpoises by swimming circles around them, cutting them off, flipping them in the air, and even tossing them like a ball. Sometimes it's just about showing off their strength and agility. Orcas also use a more well-known technique called tail slapping, where the orca uses its massive tail to smack the porpoise out of the water, almost like a game of volleyball. The orcas don't necessarily need to eat, they just enjoy watching the confusion unfold. Orcas have been seen abusing seals too, tossing them in the air like they're nothing more than a frisbee. They'll launch the seal out of the water, only to let it fall back down and repeat the process. They'll even flip them onto ice floes and give them a little push with their snouts, just to watch them struggle. And the whole time, it's just simply about watching the chaos unfold as their prey is tossed around like a rag doll. Some scientists think this is possibly a way for orcas to practice their hunting skills, but also likely to just get a little kick out of messing around with their food. Even with sea lions, orcas will be seen playing with them for hours, batting them around with their tails and letting them swim for a short distance away before chasing them down again. Sometimes they'll work in teams to create waves, pushing the sea lions towards one another like a team of bullies, rounding up their targets before the real fun begins. They can drag these games out for hours, letting their prey think they've escaped, only to pull them right back into the chaos, making not only little jokes on the side. This is about showing off their strength, their intelligence, and sheer capabilities of how much they can truly outclass their prey. As the ocean's apex predators and some of the most intelligent creatures on the planet, orcas sometimes prank for the sake of pranking. They dominate for the sake of dominating. And they kill for the sake of killing. Sometimes it's for food, sometimes it's for practice, but sometimes, like many, it's simply because they can. It's not always about survival, not always about hunger. It's about the same impulses that drive us: curiosity, control, even boredom. Because when intelligence reaches a certain level, violence isn't always a necessity. Sometimes it's simply a choice.